You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
We are getting started with our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. We're answering more of our community's questions that have come in from the past couple weeks. We answered some great questions yesterday. I think we had about 5 or 6. So definitely tune into that show if you haven't done so already. And like I always say, the question may not necessarily pertain to you, but I'm guaranteeing you know someone, whether it's a family member, a friend, or a coworker, who could use that information. And when you hear them come to you with that specific problem, you can then share that answer with them. So really, it's about all of our education, kind of bringing our own development, especially from a health perspective, to that next level. So I'm excited to get started with today's questions. Our first question today is from Larissa. She's writing in, "Hi, I have already tested my DNA through 23andMe. I was wondering if you or your clinic would interpret the raw data that I already have and offer diet lifestyle recommendations from that. I carry one ApoE3 allele and one ApoE4 allele. I was wondering if that means a ketogenic diet high in healthy fats would be beneficial or maybe not at all. I've already experimented with Paleo, but I think I was consuming too much meat overall. And that in addition to a high stress lifestyle led to leaky gut, parasites, and bacterial imbalances, IBS symptoms. I experimented with Gluten Free Veganism and consumed a lot of high carb veggies, potatoes, beans, and rice. After doing a parasite cleanse, I did an Organic Acids test and it said I wasn't processing all the carbs. So I think I was overdoing it on the carbs and maybe should live a more middle of the road approach. I'm on the mends from healing my gut finally, but I was wondering what the best diet would be for me moving forward once I'm healed. Thank you. I really enjoy listening to your podcast." Well, I'm happy to give you some tips right now since you wrote in. It'd be my pleasure to do that. I do want to let you know that we do not use 23andMe's data. It's too rudimentary. We'll put it that way. It's a fun test. It's a great place to get started. I started with 23andMe like a decade ago, but there are just so much more advanced tests than that. 23andMe, great for ancestry, a fun test, fun to look at, but not real data in terms of what you can use it from a functional medicine perspective. That's my opinion. But again, I get to see all the labs. I have a bunch of favorites, of course. 23andMe, it's just not a real test. I mean, that's the bottom line. Again, I always liken it to working out at Curves Gym, right? If you remember all those different chains, Curves is a great place to start if you've never exercised before. But eventually you become a little bit more advanced and you want to do more advanced exercises. You might join a better gym that offers more equipment, or you might hire a personal trainer, something like that. So no, we will not do the 23andMe data. We just feel it's not going to give you the best plan for you. I mean, that's basically the bottom line. We only carry the best in category, which means we'll only carry the best supplements, the best functional medicine labs, and we only carry one that's best in category, bottom line. So we use a genetics lab out of Australia. They're the best in the world. They give you 99 pages just on you. 23andMe doesn't even come close to that, not from a health-based perspective. Okay, so here's the deal. You gave me your allele, which is a 3-4. Now, a 3-4 is not meant to be anywhere near a keto-based diet, and that's because you have 1-4 allele. Whenever you have 1-4 allele, it means that your body's not going to process fats as well as the 2 or 3 allele, and this is an ApoE blood type. And so what this means is actually pretty simple, pretty straightforward, is that you need to consume a little less saturated fat than some people who might be able to clear it better from your system. Now, again, it doesn't mean that you can't have, any saturated fat. Sure, you can have some, but a high coconut oil or a high keto-based diet certainly would not be beneficial for you. It would actually cause more inflammation. You are part of that 26% of the population that does have one of the ApoE4 alleles, and that just means that you need to live a little less of an inflammatory lifestyle because you're more prone potentially to inflammation. And again, epigenetics does come into play, which means that If you're living a good overall healthy lifestyle, following more of a Mediterranean-based diet, not going with any of these fads that we all hear about, you're going to be doing much, much better overall. And I do the same exact thing myself. Now, it sounds like you did some great work, some experimenting. You've done parasite cleanses. Again, I don't know exactly what your specific goals are, except that you're looking to live a healthier lifestyle. I would absolutely say, yes, more middle of the road. I would absolutely go more Mediterranean style health plan, which is anti-inflammatory healthy fats like olive oil, avocado, some nuts like walnuts or raw almonds, things like that. That could be great for you. And that could be where you're getting your healthy fats from. And then you're doing berries, you're doing low glycemic fruit. It doesn't have to be all in one direction or all in the other. I know that's the society and the world we live in. And that's why what I preach to people is very, very different. And the reason is I'm unwilling to go full bore in one direction, because whenever you go that far, tilt that far in one direction, there's always a correction back to the other side. I don't even have to worry about the correction back to the other side because I never am willing to go that far in that one direction. And the reason is I've been through all this myself before. I've seen it every day in my practice. I don't have to guess. I have all of the data right there in front of me. So if you ever want a full plan just for you, where you and I work on your genetics one-on-one, simply go to stevencabral.com/store, click on the anti-aging tab, and you can do the genetic test with us, which is, again, a test you only need to do once, and you get much, much better data, like not even close. And again, I've paid for this test and I've done it myself. That's how important, of course, I think it is as well. All right, Catherine's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I recently graduated as a certified integrative health coach from IIN. One of my first clients is a mysterious case. He says when he was born, he came out all black and blue. And from that moment till about 20, he was prescribed massive amounts of antibiotics. He was recently diagnosed with squamous cell carcinoma and had a huge cyst removed from his back. He now says they diagnosed cellulitis for many gaping wounds on his legs. Now, here's the kicker. He works at a health food store and has gone through every protocol to kill this bacteria that is causing severe inflammation. He says he's taken all the probiotics like Synthol, CBD oil, silver oil, oil of oregano, etc. You name it, he's done it. He's a hardcore paleo follower, eating only organic grass-fed beef, lots of fruit and vegetables, and no processed food. I think he should be more plant-based and address his primary food, like the lack of a support system and finances and spirituality, maybe hypnosis or visualization. I know you had major issues with rebuilding your body after all those antibiotics, and I told him you could be a real asset in finding the solution to his underlying fungus issues. I look forward to listening to your podcast every day. You're amazing, and one day I would love to collaborate as one of your health coaches to help bring your practice to the masses. Your work has truly a ripple effect that reaches and is helping to heal the world. Thanks, and God bless. Catherine. P.S. I'm now using the same PEM technology that NASA uses in hopes of improving his microcirculation so the body can begin to heal itself. If you're interested, please forward or reach out. Okay. Thank you, Catherine. Really appreciate you reaching out. And of course, reaching out selflessly on behalf of your client, not even for yourself. So really do appreciate that. In the future, I'm going to be working a lot more with health coaches. I get asked every day on a daily basis to have people on the show, to collaborate, to do all these things. Absolutely amazing. And one day in the future, I would like to be able to work on a much more mass scale with all of you great health coaches. I consider myself, again, to be a health educator, health coach. So we will do that one day. I will have a really big community gathering of all of us health coaches. So we'll be able to put something together. So for now, we're just growing. We're basically taking our offline practice. That was our goal in 2017. We're halfway through 2017. We're reaching our goal of bringing this to, we'll hit 1 million downloads very, very shortly. So really excited about that, and more great stuff to come hopefully in the future where we can all work together. All right. So here's the thing. Whenever anybody has a mystery-based illness, they've tried every different supplement in the world. They've tried all these different things. We just have to stop guessing. That's what I tell people. Bottom line is this. Okay, you come to me, you come to anyone, you say you've tried everything, great. I say, then forget about it. Then let's not try anything else. We don't need any more recommendations from me. Let's test. Let's stop guessing. That's what I always call it. Stop guessing and test. So my primary test for this client is an organic acids test, and then a food sensitivity test, and if possible, a hair tissue mineral analysis. Organic acid test is truly going to see, does he have a fungal overgrowth-based issue? Does he have a bacterial overgrowth issue? Is there C. diff? Is there one of these things? If there is, it's going to show up. Is there a mitochondrial issue? Is there a detox issue? Is there a liver-based issue? And that's why there's cellulitis. So you have to test. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's my recommendation. Organic acids test first. then a food sensitivity test if possible to look at if all these great foods that he's eating, if those are actually causing inflammation as well. Because remember, when we do our food sensitivity tests with people, and we send these again all over the US, Canada, the UK, that they're eating foods, yes, but they're sensitive to them, which are causing inflammation. Just because a food's healthy for you doesn't mean it can't cause inflammation, because it can if your immune system is attacking it. And the last one, the hair tissue mineral analysis, will look at the overall autonomic nervous system. It will look at mineral imbalances. It will look at copper toxicity, aluminum, mercury, lead, arsenic, cadmium. So look at all those great things. That's my recommendation. We need to stop guessing. You're on the right path with working on circulation. I can tell you that. You need to work on lymphatic drainage with this person because they have cellulitis. So, clean up the gut, working on the lymphatic drainage, keeping them exercising. They need to exercise. They should be doing an infrared sauna. You need to do the things that healthy people do. And so it's kind of like, there's a lot, right? There's a lot to get better, but it depends on, if you're not really that sick, you don't need to do that much to get better. That's what I always tell people. And they're like, okay, of course, that makes sense. But if you're really sick, then you need to do everything. I mean, that's kind of the issue. And I don't feel bad saying that because I want to get people well. And if you dabble in a little bit, you do a little bit here, a little bit there, okay, great. But what your body really needs is a systemic based approach. You need to be following the smoothie in the morning. You're going to be easing digestion. You need to be doing the lymphatic massage. You need to be doing the infrared sauna. And these are all things you can do. Like, this is maybe 30 minutes of your life during the day to get a little exercise in, to do some lymphatic based work, maybe 3 to 5 minutes before you get in the shower to do some dry brushing. And again, I lay out my whole protocol that I want to share with the world in my upcoming book. But for right now, follow what I just talked about on my answer right there. Okay. Adriana's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. My question is regarding my boyfriend. We've been dating for 4 years now, and I have to say that sex was amazing for the first 3 years and a frustration over the last year since we moved together. He has very low libido since we have sex once a month and sometimes not even once. He is 32 years old and lifts weights 3 to 4 times a week. He participated in bodybuilding competitions when he was 16 to 18 years old and did very strict diets back then. His brother had thyroid nodules, and I'm wondering if his low libido has something to do with something physical, maybe adrenal fatigue or thyroid issues. I listened to a podcast of yours regarding this. One more thing, he told me it's been a pattern since he started having sex. His libido is totally fine for no more than 2 years. After that time, it disappears, and his old girlfriend's with it. He thinks it might be something psychological and has started seeing a therapist, but I insist it might be something else. Thanks so much for your help, Adriana. Okay, so there are two sides to this, Adriana, and both of you could absolutely be correct. Like, there's no doubt about it. When you first wrote that, so I always ask my wellness clients, my private wellness clients when I'm speaking with them, is what changed? Right 3-4 months before this thing happened, this event happened, what changed? Now, there was a change with the two of you moving in together, okay? So sometimes when a couple moves in together, there can be more stress. There can be all sorts of different things that kind of lead to maybe a lower libido. And so we do want to look at that. We want to look at it from a psychological perspective. It sounds like that both of you have really good communication, and that's huge to figuring this out. Really, really important, because a lot of times poor communication just leads to kind of a barrier between people. And of course, with that, you're going to have a lower libido. You're going to have less interest in sex when there's just this barrier in between a couple. So you have to keep that communication going without a doubt. And then also, like you just mentioned, I think you possibly hit the nail right on the head, is looking at adrenal and thyroid. So why is this important? Well, adrenal and thyroid, and again, this can come with stress as well. When the adrenal glands are heightened, which just means the HPA axis, so the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis has been kind of turned on to a higher degree, there's more stress, then it starts to shut down thyroid. And when thyroid goes lower, along with the adrenals, you start to see a lowering in testosterone. When there's a lowering in testosterone, there can be an absolute decrease in libido. So what would I do? Well, I would do the adrenal and hormone test. If you wanted to get very in-depth, then I would do, and again, I hate that it's called this, but it is, the weight maintenance test or the weight loss test. And again, it has nothing to do with weight loss, but of course, weight loss has nothing to do with really weight loss either. It has to do with getting in better health. So the weight loss-based test, and I'll try to rename it, but for right now, that's what it's called. What it is this. It's an adrenal-based test, so it looks at your cortisol levels 4 times throughout the day. It looks at testosterone, estrogen, DHEA, and progesterone. And then it also looks at thyroid function. It looks at free T4, free T3, TSH, TPO. It looks at blood sugar levels. Amazing lab. If your boyfriend will run that, well, then he'll get my personal recommendations and he'll get to speak with one of my health coaches for 30 minutes as well to go through a personalized plan for him. That's my highest recommendation. I actually think it's great. He's going to see a therapist, work through those things, work through it together, really start to communicate even better as a couple. So run the lab, but then also plan a night together. Like, why not just say, okay, we've moved in together. Maybe there's less spontaneity. Maybe there's not the same type of date nights that we might have before. Make a date night, make it a Thursday night, make it a Friday night where you go out to dinner, you get out of the house, dress up, like any of those things that kind of like spark the romance as well. You just need to keep doing that. I think couples just get stagnant in their relationships. And I think it's really important to keep that romance there and to keep, I don't know, impressing is not the right word because you're not trying to impress your partner, but you're trying to keep that spark alive. That's basically it. So you do those things for each other. And I think that's really, really nice. So hopefully even just share the last 5 minutes that I've spoken on this topic with your boyfriend. And I hope that the two of you can then chat about that as well. All right. I know that you'll be able to fix this. No doubt about it. You're both very, very young and hopefully in overall good health, you'll be able to fix this. No problem. All right. Floor is up next. Floor is writing in. I have recurring UTIs. I've been to my primary care doctor several times and they keep prescribing antibiotics. The pain is so bad sometimes I can't walk. I want out of this cycles. Where should I start? Okay, Flo, here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm actually going to type in, I'm going to go to stevencabral.com/podcast and I'm going to type in UTI. And when I type in UTI, a bunch of different podcasts pop up. And so when I type that in, what I want you to do is I will find all the different protocols. So, and then that's what I want you to basically follow. So I know episode 470 is one on urinary tract infections, and I'll look up a bunch of others. But I've spoken about urinary tract infections quite often on the Cabral HouseCalls on the weekend, and I know episode 470 was one of those. Okay, episode 470. So that's where we're going to point you to first. And then if there's additional ones, of course, we'll link those up as well. Now, besides me linking up to that show, so I don't have to go through kind of like the full explanation, it's really important that you understand that any type of bacteria seeping through the gut wall, especially E. coli, and E. coli is in your colon, that it could get into the bladder, it could get up into the kidneys as well. So I'd love you to run an organic acids test, but if you can't run an organic acids test to look for bacterial overgrowth or yeast overgrowth, I would do this. I would first, without a doubt, do the daily nutritional support. So it's just the smoothie every morning. And then I would use the daily probiotic support. Okay. That's just the first step. Now, if you're willing to go a little bit further, here's what I would do. Because that first step will help flush. It will help flush the blood, flush the kidneys. But if you're willing to go one more step, what I would do is I would do the healthy urinary tract infection protocol. So if you look on my website, why don't I do this? I will link it up in today's show notes. I'll make it even easier for you. Just go to stevencabral.com/ and I want to say episode 541 today. Yes. So stevencabral.com /541. You will click on the UTI protocol. Again, if you're ever wondering, like, do I have a protocol for this? Do I have a protocol for that? Just go to stevencabral.com /store, click on supplements. Scroll down the page. You'll actually see that we have a urinary tract protocol. I've been using this now for over 4 years. It works amazingly well. So Floor, what I would do is this, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, so I apologize. FOFLOR is what I have, is I want you to do this urinary tract protocol for 3 weeks. That's it. I want you to do it for 3 straight weeks. It is clinically proven using the D-mannose that we have to basically unlock that bacteria from your bladder wall. And then you're going to use the vitamin C, the ascorbic acid, to wash it right out to acidify the bladder as well. You're going to use the pharmacology probiotic. It's a great, great plan. So, all right, I take it back. Do the urinary tract protocol first. Do the daily nutritional support smoothie every morning along with it. And then if that isn't enough, you'll run the organic acids test, or you'll just complete the candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol. That will get you the results you're looking for. All right, excellent. Tennille is up next. Tennille writes in, "Hi, Stephen. Appreciate what you do each day. Amazing that you're helping make a difference. Listening from Trinidad and Tobago each day. Appreciate the listens from Trinidad and Tobago." And where are we going? We're going straight to my question, how to improve my eye health. I've recently taken meat out of my diet and noticed my vision has become blurred. So maybe lacking minerals. I'm only 24 years old, maintain a whole foods diet, exercise 3 to 5 times per week. Any suggestions? Well, Without really knowing, looking deep into your labs, there's a couple things we could look at. Okay. So the first one is I did an episode on episode 429. We'll link that up as well. That was on floaters. I'm not sure if you're having eye floaters. That actually can happen from calcium deposits in the eye from too much of a catabolic nature where your body's breaking down too much. So I want to make sure you're not under additional stress lately, or that you're not over exercising or doing any manual labor, anything like that, where you're breaking your body down. Again, I don't know how, you're 24 years old. So yeah, very possible you have a job like that. And I also want to make sure that you don't have any heavy metals. So that can cause inflammation and go directly to the eyes as well. So if you could run a hair tissue mineral analysis, we can actually mail that to Trinidad and Tobago as well if you want to do a hair tissue mineral analysis. What else can I recommend? Well, if you're just looking for overall good eye health, here's what you can do. You could absolutely do a smoothie every morning so you get all the antioxidants from your fruits and vegetables. Of course, I recommend that. And I also recommend this. There are two specific antioxidants that are great for the eyes. They're actually great for the retina part of the eye. So they're good for retinal-based health. And they're lutein and zeaxanthin. And zeaxanthin and lutein are clinically proven to help with free radical damage and a lot of the inflammation specifically in the eye. So there's a great product by Pure Encapsulations. We like them. Good people, good product. What I'm going to do is link up to their product in today's show notes. So all you have to do is go to stevencabral.com/541 and I'd be happy to do that for you. All right, last question of the day is from Kelly, and it's a long one, so let's get started. She writes in, "Hello, Dr. Cabral. I started listening to your podcast about 4 to 5 months ago, and I have to say, you really turn much of what we know on its head. I could be asking one of a million questions pertaining to myself or my immediate family members, but I finally decided what I want to ask. My 20-year-old daughter has had a very unhealthy year. Lots of upper respiratory infections that didn't quit. Cystic ovaries, UTI, strep, bronchitis, general malaise, culminating with Bell's palsy in April, and now nodsum, which is extremely painful. She has taken on a vegan diet about 2 years ago. However, I have to caveat, she is an extremely picky eater. Potatoes, salad, broccoli, cucumber, rolls, pizza with no cheese, and pho comprise the bulk of her diet. Occasionally a fruit smoothie. Fats, oils make her feel physically sick. Lots of OCD-like tendencies, specific to expiration dates on foods. We are approaching a date 3 to 4 days out. Cannot eat. She has seen a neurologist for Bell's, which pretty much full recovery. Once a great while, we can see her eyes blink. All right, I'm going to skip down a little bit. Discovered some low D, some low iron, some low B12. She's taking those vitamins, hoping that it can be fixed. More concerned that something deeper could be happening. I think she might have a classic case of adrenal fatigue. Functional labs included cortisol, and it was 3.6. That is low. Last summer, she did work 2 jobs, about 60 hours a week on her feet, went straight to a second year of college. And well, we all know that lifestyle is not always the most conducive to good health. Then came BP. It's a miracle she didn't have to drop out of school. What are you thinking? Where does it begin? I know there is no magic bullet, but truly at a loss. P.S. Lots of labs over the year. Tested negative for Lyme, HIV, mono, Epstein-Barr. Thank you for all you do. Can't wait for your book to come out. All right. So there's a lot going on, right? This is not a straightforward case. But at the same time, whenever it's not a straightforward case, it's always a straightforward case. Meaning that when we have this many things going on, we're typically looking at, always have to look here first. We're looking at total body burden. And you'll hear about that term. Maybe that's for the first time you heard it, but you will hear about that term coming up in my upcoming book. Total body burden means that the body is simply overwhelmed. So yes, our minds can get overwhelmed. There's no doubt about that. But our bodies can also get overwhelmed. They can get overwhelmed with bacteria, viruses. They can get overwhelmed with what we call leaky gut or intestinal permeability. They can get overwhelmed because of weak digestion. I mean, your daughter can't digest any fats. Those make her sick. So what we're looking at is really total body burden, and we're looking at a kind of like overall wiping out of the sympathetic nervous system. That's where you have to start. So what we have to do, because we know we have a lot of work to do, is we can run the hair tissue mineral analysis to just see, does she have copper toxicity? Does she have mercury aluminum-based toxicity? Because that could be a big thing, and that could be stressing out her sympathetic nervous system. So again, if we don't calm the central nervous system first, If we can't get this body into the parasympathetic nervous system, we can't heal. You can do all the best supplements in the world. And people write in all the time, I'm eating the best food. I'm taking the best supplements. I'm doing this, this, and this. But if you can't calm that sympathetic nervous system, if you can't calm the fight or flight, you really can't get better. And that's why I had to learn the hard way. I couldn't calm my sympathetic nervous system for about a half a decade, for about 5 years. And the reason I couldn't calm it is because I didn't even know that that's what the issue was. That's the problem. I'm guarantee you will never have a doctor tell you, oh, well, this is sympathetic nervous system dominance, because they read it in medical school and then it just goes in one ear and out the other because it doesn't pertain to their practice, which is essentially treating dis-ease with pharmaceuticals. And that's really too bad. Now, again, in functional medicine, we're giving her vitamin D, we're giving her iron, we're giving her B12. These are great things. That's what we should be doing. There's no doubt about that. But that's what I call green medicine as well. Like, that's important to do. We do need to do that. But you haven't peeled back the onion far enough. Okay? That's still the middle of the onion. I like to peel it right back to the middle and say, oh, this is the core. This is what's going on. So even if your daughter's a picky eater, well, we need to get her eating the foods that she does like, and we need to be able to ramp up her digestive system. So I'd recommend a digestive enzyme at each meal. I'd recommend that smoothie every morning. I would just do the Dr. Cabral daily protocol first thing in the morning so she gets every vitamin and mineral and antioxidant that her body needs, even if she doesn't eat anything right for the rest of the day. That's why it was created. It was created for people like my parents who are not going to eat every meal that's all that great. They're just not, okay? They're not going to. So I said, what if every morning they did a shake that contained every vitamin, every mineral, every antioxidant that their body needed? And then what if I added, that's functional medicine, then what if I add a natural component where I gave them 22 organic fruits and vegetables in a powder, just 1 tablespoon, that's it. And then what if I gave them just 2 little capsules, 50 billion CFU of a dairy-free probiotic strain that I know that has clinical benefits and that's been third-party verified? What if you did that? You get everything you need before you leave the house in the morning. That's the amazing part of it. It's what I do myself. It's what I recommend to everyone. That's a start because there's so many things you could do. Do that first. Then if you can, run a hair tissue mineral analysis, run an organic acids test. We know that she has low cortisol. You don't need to rerun that. But her adrenals, her potentially a thyroid, her nervous system is shot. It's just on low, right? It's just worn out. We need to rejuvenate your daughter's body. And we can't rejuvenate her body until she just flips that switch off for a second. She needs to calm everything down. And then we need to replenish those nutrients. Not cherry pick the D, the iron, and the B12. All of those are great, but give her everything that she needs. So that's the place to start. Hopefully, this gets her going in the right direction. And I would love her to also do just about 20 to 30 minutes of exercise and movement per day, even if she's not feeling that great. And here's why. I need her to boost the endorphins in her body. I need her to get oxygen to her brain. Not high intensity exercise for her. Get her body moving. Some body weight exercises, even just to walk, get on an upright bike, anything to get that body moving to decrease the anxiety, decrease the stress, breathe in oxygen into her tissues at every cell that she can get in her body. I'm telling you, this is the way to start to improve. You can get more in depth after that, but you have no business fine-tuning whether you should take licorice root or not until you're doing the daily protocol that I just spoke about and then moving up from there. Okay, that's the start. And hopefully that helps. Really do want to see your daughter get better because I know what it's like to be a sick 20-year-old. And it's no fun. It's really no fun when all your friends are out. They can party all night and you can't because your body's just worn out, I paid the price. I really did. I would go with my friends till 2 a.m, 3 a.m, 4 a.m, and then I would get sick and I would have a sinus infection. And then I would try to get better by the next weekend. And then I would try to do it again and I would get sick again. And that would go on all winter long. It was brutal. And so again, I feel for her, but I also know that she can get better. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in to another Cabral House Call. As always, I appreciate each and every one of your listens. And please do feel free to share this message with anyone it could help. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stevencabral.com/courses.